Okay, so to start out, I do have a little bit of self-tanner on my face. And so I went for a little bit of a darker shade because I know in the summer I'm gonna get a little bit tanner. And I also know that I self-tan even more in the summer than I do the rest of the year. So the shade I got is the Rimmel Lasting Finish 24-Hour with Comfort Serum and 200 Soft Beige. So we're gonna see how this works. The one thing I already don't like about it is that it doesn't have a pump. It's just a like screw top cap, and then there's the product. So not crazy about the fact that there's no pump, but that's okay. We'll roll with it. So I'm going to use a primer. It is supposed to be over 100 today. Somewhere between like 100 and 105, which is ridiculous for the month of June, but that's how hot it's gonna be. So I am going to put a primer on today because on a normal day, my skin kind of eats up foundation and blush anyways. And since it's so hot, I definitely need a primer to kind of have an extra barrier from keeping my skin from completely like destroying the foundation. So this is a Cover FX primer. The reason I picked this one is because it has SPF 30 in it and I will be outside today. The foundation has SPF 20. So this is the primer I'm going to use. So it's not a mattifying primer, so it's not going to like keep me from getting shiny. So I figured this was probably a very neutral primer to use as far as not messing with the foundation as much, as in like making it dewier or matter. So it's just kind of a standard primer, has some sun protection, and then also just kind of creates a barrier between your skin and your foundation to help keep it from breaking down and help it last just a little bit longer. Because let's be honest, I'm not gonna wear this for 24 or 25 or 26 hours. But if it can last me during the bulk of the day, that's what we want. Okay, so I put the primer on and we're gonna go in with this foundation. I'm gonna try it with a brush and try it with a beauty blender. The beauty blender is usually my favorite method, especially for kind of thick foundations. This is just a lid from a Bath & Body Works candle. It's what I've been using to put my foundation on rather than the back of my hand. So we're just going to get some out. As you can see, it's pretty dang thick. Wow, yeah, it's really thick. I wonder if this shade is gonna be too light. I think the next shade up was Sand, and I was afraid that might just be so dark. So we'll see. So it's a very, very thick consistency. Let's go over to my pimply side and see how that covers up. Put a little bit extra right there. Okay. And with the beauty blender, let's see how this blends. The color match is actually pretty good. I mean, it might be a little bit light. It matches my face pretty well. But as far as matching my neck, we'll have to see how it works. With the beauty blender, it blends really nicely. Does this have a scent? No. And the foundation does not have a scent. So the color match is so good, I barely can tell where I've put foundation and where I haven't, because it's like seriously the same color as my skin. Yeah, wow. So it feels like a kind of light coverage when I'm looking at it. It did kind of cover this blemish, but not as much as other foundations do. So I'm gonna kind of build it up around the places where I feel like I need just a little bit more coverage. But wow, yeah, I really like the look of it on the skin. It's very natural looking. It's very, very light and natural looking. Like I almost feel like it covers up and evens out your skin tone without looking heavy or cakey. Like it just has a very beautiful, natural skin finish. Like it looks like skin. Wow. That's amazing. It does not, okay, if I'm looking up close in my mirror, it does not look like I have foundation on at all. Like, I don't see foundation on my skin. Wow. I don't know if I've ever found a foundation that has looked so natural other than like my Perricone MD. I'm very surprised because this was such a thick, creamy consistency that I was almost positive it was going to look and feel heavy on the skin. But this is amazing. Wow. Okay, so it kind of covered up this blemish. I don't know, I feel like it's a pretty good coverage as far as evening out my skin tone on that side. But it doesn't feel or look heavy at all. Wow, that's crazy. I'm a little like taken back by how good my skin looks. Crazy. Okay, I'm gonna try using a brush on the other side. I kind of don't even want to because I like the way the Beauty Blender looks. It seriously, you guys, looks like skin. It looks like I just have the most flawless skin. Oh my gosh, if this wears throughout the day, I think this like could easily go up as one of my like favorite foundations. If this wears well and stays like this, I can easily see this being a Holy Grail foundation just because I love the way it looks on my skin. This is an RC Cosmetics brush. I got sent this a long time ago. It's kind of like the Sigma brushes, but I find they don't last as long. Like this part, the little hairs like break loose. Okay, so if you apply it with the brush, it's definitely a heavier coverage, which I don't really think I like. I definitely feel like it looks more like makeup. I don't like that. I'm gonna go back to my Beauty Blender. Yeah, that's very interesting. So if you use a brush, I feel like it looks much more heavy, like you've got makeup on. I don't feel like it blends into the skin as nicely as like a Beauty Blender, which is why I just love the Beauty Blender. I feel like if you're gonna invest in any beauty tool, a Beauty Blender, and they last forever. I mean, I had my last Beauty Blender that I just finally got rid of for over, I don't know, a year and a half, I think I've been using it, and it finally just got to the point where it was like breaking apart. But it was something I use every single day. I wash it every day, I use it every day, and I use it for so many things. So I really love the Beauty Blender. So I definitely prefer the Beauty Blender method over the brush. The brush just probably will give you a little bit more full coverage. However, I feel it just I don't like the way it looked as much. I feel like it kind of made it look a little heavy. But with the Beauty Blender, I seriously feel like it's my skin. My skin with no makeup on. Like if I had perfect, flawless canvas, all even skin. And if you look up close, it does not look like you're wearing makeup, which I think is great. So far, first impressions of just applying it and the way it initially looks on the skin, I really, really, really like it. It's not drawing out any dry patches on my skin. My nose tends to be kind of dry, even though the sides of it get really oily. The top part of my nose gets really, really dry. My forehead can tend to be a little bit dry, and I don't find that it's like accentuating any peach fuzz. It's not accentuating any dry patches. It did an okay job covering up that little pimple. I might need to go in with some concealer and cover it up, but this foundation just looks so beautiful on the skin. So it is currently, what time is it right now? It's currently 8:27, so I'm gonna finish up with the rest of my face and come back and we'll see how everything else applies over it, and we'll check in throughout the day. Okay, so I am back. I finished my makeup, I did my hair, I'm getting ready to go to the lake, and it's 10:08. So it's been like an hour and a half since I originally applied it. My thoughts have, let me check up close, have not changed. I think that this foundation looks so beautiful on the skin. I did set my under eyes and my T-zone with my MAC CC powder, which is what I always do. I have to set my under eyes, otherwise they crease and the concealer moves. And I always set my T-zone, and I don't find that it made it particularly cakey looking or more makeup-y. Yeah, I finished up my makeup and still love the way that it looks. It feels and looks very natural on the skin. It is a little bit, you can see it's a little bit lighter than my neck, but that's okay. I could have probably gone up a shade, but I just didn't want it to be too dark. So I really like it. If you want to know what's on the rest of my face, I just mixed, let me find it here. I just did a very neutral lid, and then I paired some Makeup Geek shadows. These are their foiled ones. I did this bright blue, this kind of like light green, and this dark blue on my lower lash line. And then my lips are Dose of Color Bury Me. is what's on my lips. And this is like such a great lip stain. I really, really like it. So I'm going to run some errands. I'm gonna go to the lake today. It's supposed to be hot. I'm not planning on getting my hair or my face wet, but I do wanna see how it lasts kind of in the heat and out in the sun, because honestly, that's the reality of my summer, and I want something that's going to hold up. So we're gonna see how this kind of lasts throughout the day. So I'll check in a little bit, guys. Bye. Hi everyone, I'm here with a check-in. It is 2:50. I've had this foundation on for almost 6 hours now. I've had this foundation on for 6 hours already, and I'm like unbelievably beyond words can explain how impressed I am by this foundation. I just spent the last 3 hours out at the lake. It is 107 degrees outside. It is so stinking hot. You sweat in places you probably shouldn't. I've been in and out of the water. My hair kind of feels like it's a hot mess, but 107 degrees for the last 3 hours. And this makeup has held up unbelievably well. Like I was sweating, and like my bronzer is still on my forehead. My blush is still on. Look at my highlight is still on. My blemish right here is still completely covered. I'm not oily. I'm not greasy. It did wear off a little bit where my sunglasses were, which I'm so surprised, because my sunglasses were sliding down my face because it was so incredibly ridiculously hot that I was constantly taking a towel and like wiping my nose because my sunglasses were falling down because it was so sweaty. And there was sweat on my face. It is so hot. And this foundation looks amazing. It looks glowy on the skin. It's not like matte, but it looks glowy and healthy. It doesn't look cakey. It doesn't feel tacky on the skin at all. Like literally the only part that looks not perfect is just right where my sunglasses were. I'm so incredibly impressed. So I'm going to just touch up around my nose area just because there's like absolutely no foundation there. And I'm gonna just put a tiny bit right in that spot. It's the only place I'm gonna touch up just because my sunglasses just destroyed that. And just right here. And yeah. So I've already like set my T-zone earlier this morning. The foundation does touch up well. It's not cakey where I just applied that. It blended nice. So that's nice to know that it does touch up. You can do touch-ups really easily. So I'm super excited about this foundation so far. We'll see how it lasts throughout the day. I have a Bachelor tonight, or the Bachelorette to watch tonight. So I'll try to do a checkup when I get back too. So it'll be a little bit later. It'll be about 10 o'clock. So that'll be like 14 hours of wear by that point. So yeah, I'm super impressed. No touch-ups, no powder touch-ups in 6 hours, 3 hours in really, really hot, blinding sun. And the only touch-up you saw was this little, one right here. So I'll check in a little bit and we'll see how it's holding up. Hi everyone, I'm here for a check-in. It is 6:17. I've almost had this makeup on for 10 hours now. And it is getting, oh yeah, you can see it. It's definitely getting a little bit dewy-ish in my T-zone area. Around my nose is pretty shiny, kind of in the center of my forehead right here, and a little bit on my nose. The makeup has not broken up at all. It's like still very intact. It still looks really pretty on the skin, minus the fact that I'm like super shiny. So the only thing I feel like I'd really need to do is just maybe blot a little bit, but that's pretty amazing for 10 hours of wear when a couple hours of it was really out in the hot 107-degree weather. And I didn't blot, I had just fixed up my nose area, which is a little bit oily because when I did touch it up, I did not set it with a powder. So I'm super impressed with this foundation, you guys. I love the way it looks on the skin. My skin looks healthy and glowy. With all these bright lights on, it definitely has like a little bit of a greasy look to it at the moment, so it's nothing a little bit of powder wouldn't fix. My blemish right here is even still completely covered up, which I'm really, really impressed with. So 10 hours of wear, really loving this. I don't know how it really would go with 25 hours of wear, but not very many people ever wear their makeup for 25 hours. So, instant perfect coverage that lasts all day. I would say, yeah, it did. It lasted all day. It's 10 hours, we're 10 hours in, and it's great, and it's a very, very, very hot day today. Sweat, heat, humidity, and transfer proof for up to 25 hours. I would agree with that it's sweat, heat, humidity, and transfer proof. I don't know if up to 25 hours because obviously I'm quite shiny at this point, but I think this is a fantastic foundation, you guys. It was around like $7 or $8 at Rite Aid. Very inexpensive. The downside to me is it doesn't have a pump, and the color matching, I wasn't quite sure, but this 200 Soft Beige actually works perfectly. I think it's a great, great match. So if you're looking for a new foundation, I think this is fantastic. I think it's great for the summer. It feels light on the skin, it looks light on the skin, but provides amazing coverage. So anyways, guys, thank you so much for watching. If you've tried this foundation, I would love to know your thoughts. If there's any foundations you would like to see first impressions, leave them in the comments below, and I'll talk to you guys in the next video. Bye!